Hello, my friends. What's going on? Big call tonight. I'm very excited about it, and I wanted to make sure I got on a little early to intro it, let you guys know what's going on. So we're doing a space call tonight on Twitter, and excuse me, I got my chair. Space call tonight on Twitter with a bunch of awesome people. Avidtrader, Arca, Ham, William, Pedro from Philly, Not Legal Advice. It's going to be awesome. If you guys are on Twitter, you can go on there. You can grab a mic, and that way you can ask questions and stuff if you want, if they pick you. Otherwise, I'll be on here streaming it. I'm obviously a part of the call, and also I'll be reading the chat, so I can bring stuff up there, and then I'll be mute when when I'm not talking. So it'll go well, and I can still add comments and stuff here. So here for the TKYP, I like it. Moose, thank you, sir, for another membership. Love it. It looks like Busy dropped on and dropped the deets. So call starts in 15 minutes. So we'll get going there in a second. Let's see here. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. It was wonderful on our end. Loved it. Really good stuff. But yeah, I think this is going to be special. I really do. I think this is going to be an awesome chat with many brilliant minds, and I'm very excited to hear it because there's so many different opinions on how things can go. But the one thing they all agree on is that we're all going to win. Everybody has a different opinion, how, when, what will trigger it, how high will go, all that stuff. But nobody thinks we're going to lose this. So that's what is going to be really exciting about it. I'm excited because some of you guys on my channel have not heard before Pedro or maybe even Avid or Arca. So this is going to be good stuff. I'm really excited for tonight. And Busy Brands put it all together, and he's just awesome. So Jensen, live for the first time. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Lance is excited to have us on. Thanks, man. Robert, what's up, buddy? Northern Ontario. Bruno's All-Star Cast tonight. Deuce in the bowl. I like it. Deuce in the bowl. Candace, what's going on? Lyrical. JD will be awesome. Yeah, space is going to start at 8 o'clock. Fix it, man. So that's 13 minutes away. It's 8 o'clock Eastern time. Katie, you had a Thanksgiving and birthday. Was it the same day? That's interesting. Who is the plus more? We don't know. I don't know. That's why I put that, because I do think there'll be people jumping on. Maybe some good guests. You know, in the past, we've had BAM Investor join in. I saw Bill Pulte might join in tonight. So just really exciting outsiders. So yeah, it's going to be wild. Busy reached out to me yesterday to see if I could do it. I said, sure, let's see what happens. And then he just got all these all-stars on. So super excited about that. Ham, what's up, man? 1,300 on FSU to win national championship, 24-1. Holy smokes, man. I hope you get that. But you can hedge if they make the 4. I think they'll still make the 4 at this point. That'll be tricky, maybe the bowl game. That's about it. You excited, Diana? Yeah, it's going to be good. Thanks, Damon. Yeah, hit the like, guys, if you don't mind. Didn't know Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy's brother playing for Nebraska? I had no idea. Man, we stomped them last night. That was a beautiful win on Thanksgiving. I was a little worried because the Seahawks tend to give us a trouble, but it was great. You're welcome, Gretchen. Yeah, I decided it'd be a good time. I don't usually get a chance to do this, and it'll be my first time broadcasting a space call, but I'm glad I'm doing it. So anyways, Ham, I heard you're having a good drink tonight. So I brought my CBS, my last one, this beautiful beer. And here we go. This is going to be my drink tonight. One of the best beers you can find in the United States of America. And there it is. Beautiful. Look how dark that is. That's just heaven. You don't know how to find the call? Just click on Busy's. Go to Busy's page. Ham. Go to Busy's page. Go to on Busy's Twitter. It'll be the space call. Or Busy can call you in. Maybe we need to tell Busy that you're having trouble finding it. I'll text Busy right now. Make sure you're in, unless you're messing with me, which I wouldn't not say it's beyond you to mess with me. But I'm just going to cover my bases anyways. Yeah, it's going to be good tonight. It's going to be real good. Let me see here. Ham, who's FSU plays Florida? What time? What time this week? I might actually watch a college game. I'm actually interested in your team without their quarterback. I think it's an interesting story. And I don't have much else to do tomorrow except get a Christmas tree. So there's that. It's that time of year. Oh, there goes my dog. So you guys might have see kids popping in and stuff because they are still awake since it's a little early. Dogfish Head 90 minutes, says Jensen. Dogfish Head 90 is one of the great beers that you can regularly get. It is fantastic. That is such a good beer. It's one of my favorites. I grab it all the time. The Dogfish Head 120 is a seasonal. If you can find it, it's really hard to find it. So you painted your face already? Tomorrow at 7, the night game, really? Okay. Well, that's even better. That makes it much easier for me to watch. I like that. Is Florida ranked this year? What was I going to pull up here? Ham's got international. Let me get my Twitter ready for the call. Got to get this done. Gonna be lots of peeps on tonight. Miller Genuine it's all right. I mean, at least it's not light, right, on site? All American beers, huh? Oh, are they bad this year? Oh, then the FSU is going to have no trouble. You know it's not terrible? My Niners. They are just destroying worlds right now. Pedro's a big Eagles fan, so him and I are going head-to-head here in 10 days. I'm a little worried about that. We got to go to Philly to play that game. So Rosie will be excited. Right, Rosie, you in tonight? Let's see here. Busy. Hey, look at all these people on here. Whoa, I didn't set this up. Hold on a second. Oh, here comes Busy. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, so no, I was trying to get him to download the app, but he was coming.
I think it's easier when you do it because you already have this set up. I was going to be playing the space call on my live with the speaker, so I don't want to get that messed up because I'll be on YouTube and Twitter. All right, cool, man. Thanks. Sounds good. See you then. All right, bye. All right, Ham. Busy is going to call you. Busy's going to set it up with you. See, I'm glad we got on early. We were figuring stuff out here. Look at all these peeps, though, guys. He somehow gave me first. I don't know why, if I deserve that, but that's cool. Look at all these guys. Ham, you're up to 14,000 now? Dang. I remember you were at 11,000 when I first met you. Look at Not Legal, Arca. Everybody's more popular than me. Everybody has way more followers than me, and somehow I'm first on here. That doesn't make sense. Oh, Big JR is coming on tonight too. Congrats, Big JR. You're in the lineup. You made that first tier now, man. First tier for on the Capybara next hit list rankings. I love it. Oh, let's see. Let me catch up here, guys, before it starts. Gonna happen in that game, says Richie. McCaffrey is insanely good. Moose Knuckle, Grain Belt tonight. Grain Belt, I don't even know what that is. Florida's not ranked. Okay. Browns need a humble. You guys are not going to beat us again. You only beat us the last time because our kicker missed a field goal and we had injuries. Come on. How about them boys? How about them boys never winning against a winning team? You guys have only beat up bad teams. Yo, ace to my Eagles. Eagles to your 49. Eagles will win unless Niners get lucky. We'll see, Rosie. We'll see. My team's looking good right now. Let's see. West Christian states a group of lawyers will be taking action against CEOs and board members of who? CEOs and board members, really? You ate so much turkey. Dream team, that's right. This is gonna be great. Ron DeSantis denies insurance crisis in the state of Florida. He's pressed. He's so full of it. Big JR will only be listening. Too many heavy hitters. Shut up, Big JR. You got to jump on, man. You got good stuff too. You are awesome, buddy. And I don't care if you're working out. You can make some time. Do you ever not work out, JR? Is that like just what you do? Let me get. Let's see if he's invited me in yet. No, it hasn't gone yet, so it should start up soon. All right, well, here, while I'm on here, I'll share with you guys just a couple things I was looking at today. You guys see what going on with UBS? They are holding back deposits now, not giving them to people when they're withdrawal requests. So it looks like UBS might be on the verge of failure. Pretty crazy. Who bails out UBS when UBS 3 times the size of Credit Suisse? Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy? Credit Suisse total assets, $550 billion. UBS, $1.6 trillion. Isn't that insane? Guys, if UBS goes down soon, which it looks like it might, that's just going to change everything. Bank user, yeah. Here we go. UBS CEO says private buyer preferred outcome in case of it. Isn't that crazy? Like, what private buyer is going to take on a $1.6 trillion? It's just insane. So I don't know. This guy over here, I just found him the day, but he is really. Let me go to this first tweet. He's saying what he's called. I don't know if it's true or not, but he's interesting. Crawled in 2020 Euro crash. GPB, that's I think the British pound. Bitcoin crash, pending calls. He's calling for gold to crash and the stock market over the next few days. In fact, I think he's saying, yeah. So he said another tweet Monday. So I'm watching closely as usual. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I saw this today. Craziness. 40% Russell 2000 companies negative earnings. I mean, yeah, you guys know the drill. I'll just show you guys what's going on that I see. Using U.S. housing market, mortgage payments now at a record 3,000. I mean, it's just insane. So keep you guys busy with that for a second while I'm seeing if this call's ready to start. All right, looks like we're starting. So bear with me as I get this going, guys, okay? Let's see, Busy usually sends me an invite. You think the Niners are going to lose by 10? Dude, if we lose, it's not going to be by much. All right, hold on here. All right, accepted. There we are. Okay. No sound yet, guys. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, Mike Christo guy. He's got some interesting stuff. Eric, your insurance companies keep putting out notices to agents they'll be paying commissions to agents late. Oh, are you serious? I know what Eric does. That's crazy if that's true. That's crazy, man. Wow. Fork everyone, protect your family. Right, Ham? We got to, man. This is time to buckle in, I think. Avid tried to work with DBM. They want to get back to him. Yeah, he was not happy about that. I remember his video. Yeah, we play Philadelphia in 10 days, Daniel. It's going to be a crazy game. I'm not saying I'm confident we're winning, but we're not losing by 10. I'll tell you that. That will not happen. If we lose, it's going to be by a field goal or something. Maybe a touchdown at the most. All right.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? So we're gonna start off with Ham, and then we'll see who shows up. Right? I invited Arca, Pedro, Frank, Avid, but people got lives. They got family. So if they show up, great. If they don't worry about it. We can always listen to them or what they have to say at a later date. But we got Ace. We got Ace in the house. I know that Ace is also going to be live streaming on his YouTube. So if you don't want to be on a space call, you want to go straight to the YouTube, you're more than welcome to do that. So Ace, are you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
All right, good. All right, so we'll get it started right now. Let me get him on the phone. It's time to rock and roll.
Sounds good, man. Excited. Hey, Richard's here too. What's up, Richard? All right, guys. So I'm muting on here, and he'll be he's getting ham, so you'll hear it in a second.
Now, greetings. I said that's the third time I said greetings, by the way. Greetings.
Hey, Richard. Glad to make it tonight.
Yeah.
This should be good. He's getting ham right now. So Ham's going to kick us off. Ham says you did a great video on Alpine, the last one you put. I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but he liked it.
I call this
So let me tell everybody what I got going on. I'm working on a trip to Asia. I'm going to take William with me, and we're going to meet the regulators in South Korea. I'm working on Thailand. I'm going to visit some shareholders in Singapore, and I'm meeting a big fund in Hong Kong. So Singapore, Hong Kong, hopefully, Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, South Korea, home. And I'm looking to leave next Sunday, so I'm there on Monday in Kuala Lumpur. That's where we're going to be. So I'm not waiting for anybody to help us. I don't believe in that. I'm a believer in we got to make it ourselves. I can't say much about the federal authorities, but I can tell you it's super positive. So I'll leave it at that. I've been told to shut my big mouth about where we're going with that. So just hang in there. I sent a tremendous, I think my Picasso was the first email I sent to them, recapping everything, but the second one was even better because I drilled it down to where I showed the crime and finger motion almost daily. You can see it, and it was perfect. So anybody can understand it. So I laid it out for the agents on a bigger scale, and now I got it down to the small scale. I just wanted to thank the short sellers if they're listening for the Kappa Barrel report on SHOT, the same destructive pattern. I think I calculated it was $70 or $80 million loss in the one day of the bashing of the fake story on them. So it's perfect. These guys are just committing the crimes in broad daylight. It's easy for everyone to see because it's in real time. I'm not explaining AMC from 3 years ago. I'm explaining crimes in real time right now. So did you guys hear that? Or I don't hear any feedback, so you got to...
No, you're good. Keep on going.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to see them. My goal is to, when I speak to the people in South Korea, number one is I'm going to let them know that they should... I have the business plan. I have the business plan for opening an exchange or overseas, and I want to get them to actually put out a press release and throw the U.S. under the bus and tell everyone, hey, come join our exchange, and it'll be the only fair exchange in the globe that will protect you versus making sure it can help grow your company. And that's the business model that I had set up, and I think they're ready for something like that. on how to regulate these naked shorts, I have to get to them and tell them to shut it down altogether because it's just destruction. It's a poor company, a poor country to begin with, and these animals are stealing from them. They steal from everybody. They could care less. You know, so people say, well, you're promoting a stock. I'm not promoting a stock. I'm trying to tell you that no matter what you do, these guys are animals. They rob everybody. It just so happens that I happen to follow a stock. And, you know, I'm outlining it in real time what exactly is going on. That's what I've been doing. So for those who think I'm sitting here promoting a company, I'm doing the opposite. I'm promoting the end this criminal activity, and then we can move from there. And it just so happens that the stocks that I'm following, the criminal activity is in real time. And for those not paying attention, Richard, it's not legal advice, did a great video on Alpine, and he discussed about their criminal activity. And it's the same thing as the crypto exchange that was shut down for, I forget the term right now, for banking, wire fraud, whatever it was, but that promotes offshore criminal activity. Alpine is, like Richard said, is exactly doing the same thing. So please watch his video. I think it's something you can watch. He breaks it down in 13 minutes. Everything about Alpine. For those who don't know, Alpine is the prime broker for the Kramers. The Kramers are criminals. The whole thing is, it's like a big toilet bowl, the whole goddamn thing. So as long as you understand that part of it, you know, you can start doing your own homework on these things. People need to do their own homework. Again, I'm the voice of what I follow, but you shouldn't listen to me. Do your homework, and if you do believe it, you make your bets accordingly. That's the way I look at it. Right? Again, this is not legal advice. This is us giving you our opinions on everything that's going on here. And I heard them say, Frank, I guess the Benedetto's going to join.
Yeah, he's on here, and so is Richard Hoffman.
I just want to say my 2 cents to Frank. I met Frank. He's a great guy. He was a fat bastard. He lost a lot of weight. All right, so he's now he's not a fat bastard.
Thanks a lot for that. Thanks.
Not a fat bastard anymore. But this is a guy you want to be in the trenches with. You know, he represents companies. All right. But this is a fighter. This guy's out there. He's not afraid. And please pay attention to him. He does good work. And you know what? He's a great guy. And, you know, like I said, I sat down with him. I speak with him. He's a guy to follow. So please, if you're not following a guy like that, he's doing great work. And, you know, again, follow him. He's more of he's highlighting other companies. He's bringing them to the attorneys. He's helping spread the word. And, you know, a lot of these companies that, you know, everyone doesn't have money to buy every share in every stock. We all can't do it. But at least read what they're saying. Understand the crime. It's always different. There's a little twist in every little company. And the one I follow that Frank follows is, you know, I follow 2. The CNLV makes me sick every day that anybody would kill a company that wants to clean up the oceans of all that goddamn plastic. So to me, I don't care if they're standing there with a rake trying to clean it up. Someone wants to do it. Help promote it and get them to clean up this shit. So again, it only saves you, your children, your grandkids. We need clean water, and you know what? Give them a shot. See what they can do. But you know what? The system's fucked up, and it just wants to kill them. And the other one I follow, I don't know much about the fundamentals, but ASRE, where he tracked the Kramers, following the GTI model. It helped him out, and you know, it's just a matter of time before he gets them. So again, and he's helping companies get to Mark Bazile. Mark Bazile is, you know, somebody that fell from the skies for us. He has a different way to attack the shorts, going after the toxic lending angle. Okay, these guys sell stock and they don't have a license. They just operate and do whatever they want. No one's even stopping them. No license. Think about that. You know, banks, everyone needs a license. Brokers, these guys operating, selling stock and not registered in any shape or form because they don't want anybody to see what they're doing. That's why they're not registered. And Mark Bazile has a great angle to go after them because if they have to register, then everybody can see what they're doing. So right now they're hiding, and they will settle because they don't want anybody to see what they're doing. All right, so who else is here? I can't remember.
Richard Hoffman, Pedro, William is here. Frank Benedetto is also here.
Yeah, Frank is a good guy. Pedro, listen, that Gasparino, he's such a scumbag, excuse my French. I get a kick out of all the stuff you do against him, but he's a prick for a long time. And keep ripping him up. He's a washed up hack, and he's protecting the hedge funds, just like you said. It's very clear. And I thank you for that. I get a good laugh out of it every day. And Richard Hoffman, it's not legal advice. I can't thank you enough. You took all the pressure off me from reading legal documents, which I have no interest in at all. Could care less. But you break it down. In 13 minutes, you comes to the same opinion that I have, which is they're scumbags, thieves, scoundrels. They should be locked up. So I appreciate you there. I got Ace. Ace is always doing a good job. Drinking that shitty beer. He's got to show us the toilet water he's drinking. But again, everybody's doing a great job. And we all feel we're going to win. We're going to row the boat the same way. But again, I'm not waiting around for anybody. I'm moving the ball forward. I'm getting on a fucking plane, flying 24 hours with Bill, with William. And, if he's going to pitch me on the phone, I can't get off. I can't get off the plane for 24 hours. So that's going to be a tough ride with him. Anyway, go ahead. Anybody want to jump in or ask him?
Let's get Frank first, because I know that he has some family coming over, so he just wanted to stop by. Go ahead, Frank.
Good evening, Ham. Thank you. I always appreciate hearing from you, buddy. Thank you for the props. I want to talk about Basile for a second. The guy gets a lot of shit out there from a lot of people that, he's working against communities, he's doing things like that. But I got to tell you, he's the only attorney that gets consistent results and has real bona fide victories over these guys. I mean, he beat the shit out of EMA and Mast Hill in Massachusetts. The Kramers actually re-domiciled in Virginia from New York because of Basile, because Basile kept whacking them with the usury laws, and they ended up going to Virginia, where Virginia has no usury laws. The guy is just consistent, and these hedge funds and these funders, they actually fear him. When he comes on the scene, they know exactly what's coming at him. Unregistered broker-dealer, RICO, usury laws. They know that he knows his stuff, and he's going to beat them. So, I recommend Basile to them. You will see the guys from SHOT be hiring Basile to go after the same guys that did the thing to finger motion. So, Mark deserves some respect because he's fighting for us. And let me tell you, people say, it's a money grab and things like that. Mark gets paid a quarter of what Wes and Washer Bernstein, those guys get. And Mark is the one actually delivering, so he's doing the right thing.
Listen, you're right, Frank. He's definitely, I don't know if you ever met him in person. The guy is just he's an ace. Again, Wes and those guys going after the broker-dealers, these guys are hiding behind billions of dollars, and he figured out a way for this toxic lending and charging RICO charges on this thing. It's just a quick, easy way to get to these guys and force them to get exposed. So I applaud him, and again, anyone knows a small company, they need to at least speak with Mark. He doesn't require, hundreds of thousands of dollars to start the fight, and that's the type of guy you want to go after. You want a guy like that on your side.
And the best part about Mark is that he doesn't play both sides of the fence. A lot of these attorneys, they have hedge fund clients and they have corporate clients. Mark does not work for the guys that are the toxic lenders or the hedge fund guys. He only works for the corporations. So his priorities are in line. He doesn't have to worry about, I don't want to piss this guy off. He loves pissing them off. And that's the fighter I want, the guy that's got nothing to lose.
That's it. That's the guy. Frank, go take care of your family. Have a great night. Go take care of those boys. Teach them how to swing.
We're working on that. We had to delay Thanksgiving till tonight because my mother went down with the stomach flu Wednesday. So, when the matriarch is down, we put, hold the presses. So we're doing it tonight.
Change the calendar. Change the date.
Thank you,
Listen,
Frank.
have a great night, and thank you for popping on. Again, Frank is a guy I met in person. Great guy. He lost a ton of weight. Looks good now, and again, he's a fighter. And at least follow him. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Read what he's saying, because I think it's something important that his voice be heard.
All right, let's go on to Richard Hoffman. Richard, did you want to update us on the GTI situation with Alpine?
So many awesome people.
Richard
on this call.
Hoffman.
Not really, but I will. Yeah. So I read that. So where we are, there's an appeal pending. All the briefs have been filed. There'll be oral arguments within the next 90 days. But kind of what occurred to me today.
Good night, Mark.
The appeal and the issue is whether FINRA can operate. Let's say that's the big issue. But the appeal and the case only involves an injunction. So I think it's very possible if the court acts properly, they will just deny the injunction, and that will be the end of that particular case. If that's the end of that particular case, that would be a really good result for all of us long shareholders. And the reason why I think that's the conclusion is because the appellate courts are supposed to issue decisions that are as narrow as possible and are to avoid constitutional questions to the extent they can. And because Alpine themselves are scumbags and they can't establish one element they need to prove up, they need to prove up basically that they acted in good faith and they deserve equity from the court. But based on their history, that's going to be really difficult for them to establish. So based on that, I think there's a pretty good chance that they will lose this appeal on the basis of their prior conduct. And again, I think that would be
the prior conduct has been nothing but criminal activity.
Good criminal, all
we lost him.
kinds of what your Binance was violation of the Bank Secrecy Act, which was designed to prevent terrorism, money laundering. Binance, I guess, did fund terrorism, and Alpine is accused of some of the same kind of conduct that Binance was. So they're scumbags, they're criminals, they might be funding their money laundering, naked shorting, the whole plethora of bad acts.
Hey, Richard, Ham wants to chime in. Go ahead, Ham.
Richard, just so people understand, we started out with GTII with a convertible debenture with the Kramers and the company. It was paid off, and from that point, this has been on 4 years now, we've gone through where we got the Kramers, now we have the prior broker. It's just, and everyone knows about it now, everything that we started. And you can just, if you stay the course, you can start seeing it all unfold. All the characters are probably running for the hills. The only reason that Alpine would fight this battle is they're obviously hiding assets and doing something and need time to move things around. I guess if you steal $1 billion, it's not easy to move around. They're not at the ATM every day taking out a couple of $100. These guys are moving around big money and probably trying to erase everything about their past. And we all know on Wall Street, the past doesn't go away. So they're just trying to move things around. So I guess, when they do get them, instead of having $1 billion in cash, they're going to have, $20 million in the bank, and that's what they'll see.
Yeah, but think about this. Since 1984, so 1984, that's what, 40 years ago? They've been bad for that entire time. In other words, they've been disciplined, penalized, sued more times than the number of years they've been in business by the SEC and FINRA without shutting them down.
It's unbelievable.
It's disgusting.
Shut down. It's over. It's coming, guys.
And that's the people protecting us, allowing these guys to exist.
Yep, they're very protective.
and they know that these guys have exposed the whole system. And once one of them goes down and you get a beating like this, trust me, it's going to be a life-changing event. I do believe it's a life-changing event in fngr and GTII. And there'll be other events, Keep an eye on Frank. He's following stocks. There's other, I don't know everything about every stock. So, I'm going to have to pick up and read what other people are doing, to figure it out. Again, I've been here for a long time, and 2 names. I study other names, but I'm all my legwork, everything I've done, and I can see by everybody here, like Richard has become an expert on, legal, and I told you I had no idea how to even handle that stuff, but I don't even, speak about it because I'm an idiot when it comes to this, but Richard makes it so easy. And if you're involved in GTI, at least understand what Alpine is about. They're the criminals that help these guys steal. I mean, these guys were paying off the security guards if they bank while the Kramers were looting and taking a piece of the action. I'm sure that for the Kramers to loot or naked short using Alpine as a prime broker, if the Kramers were making $1, they had to give 25 cents to Alpine. There's not even a question about that. Because without Alpine, the Kramers weren't able to, no one would take that business. So they would never even have a chance to do it. So that's how this whole thing works. There's partnerships, there's people looking the other way, there's payouts, you name it, anything under the sun. These guys will do anything to steal your money. And they have, and the SEC allowed it. So Richard, that's why I went to I've been posting about counterfeiting for so long. I said, what the hell, does anyone know any Secret Service? And it's so funny, 3 shareholders do know them.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is something that, people actually have connections to. And, these are friends of friends. And it's not like we're going into the Secret Service just knocking on the door and meeting somebody. We're coming in with friendships here.
Yep.
And which has been fantastic because everyone is helping row the boat. And we will get this done.
Yep.
I promise that. We're going to get
GD, that's exactly why he's going to Asia.
I appreciate the comments, and I was going to add on
Everything
that
you asked.
many people know that the Secret Service's specialty, besides protecting whoever, is counterfeiting.
Yep.
So this is right up their alley, and I think they protect their own turf. And at some point, I don't know when, but some point somebody is going to get picked up. And they're going to roll, and somebody's going to roll on somebody else, and that's going to be the way this is going to end, in my opinion.
Yep.
Well, that's why I keep pointing out
100%.
about savvy management, that fat bastard, is because he's already got caught by the SEC for a naked short selling scheme. And it's very easy to show law enforcement, okay, here's a character that just got caught. I showed him the signatures from 3 years ago pointing out that he was a criminal. Everyone knew. And it took 3 years before the SEC actually shut this guy down. But in that time frame, this guy's amassed enough money to go buy a $10 million condo. And people, I don't know about you, running my small little house is expensive. Imagine what it costs to run a $10 million condo, the cost, the taxes, and whatever else they got to pay, insurance and everything on that. So this guy got to rob at least $50 million, $100 million to go out and buy things like that. And you can see what Ken Griffin is doing with the billions that he's stealing. He wants to buy the football team, the racing, the Miami Formula One. He wants to buy, I think he wants to buy the Hard Rock Stadium. He's putting money everywhere. And it's all down in Florida, so I guess it's something that they can't take from him is what I think he's trying to do. And for those of you who don't know, I was at the Satel, I can't pronounce the name of the hotel. And he was standing right next to me, talking to some gentleman. I didn't want to start a fight. He had an armed security guy with him, so I'm not in the business of getting locked up on Saturday morning.
What do you mean, Mario? We're not going anywhere.
I didn't say anything, but he walked outside. I tried to videotape him, but he kept turning away. But I got his car. And for those who don't understand, he owns a Maybach. And if you go back and look at Pat Burns' story, he talked about the hedge fund killing soldiers so they could buy another Maybach. He wrote that story in 2008. And I posted it with the photo of the car. And I said, Patrick, you hit this right on the nose. It seems like that is the car of choice. And I didn't know what that was at the time. I do know since he wrote about it. But again, I'd never seen it in person. And there was Ken Griffin getting into his $400,000 or $500,000 car. I mean, he's got $35 billion, so the guy's allowed to spend his money. But it's so funny that is the choice of the hedge funds. And Patrick Byrne knew all about it at the time because he wrote that story. And I put it up many times.
And I have Joe here before we go to Pedro. Let's go to Joe. He might want to have a question for you or Richard.
Hey, can you hear me, Busy?
We can hear you. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah, you're good, Joe.
We got you guys.
It's kind of cutting out.
Hey, William, can you call out Joe? Yeah, we can hear you, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, obviously you guys have put the truck in front of the SEC a billion times. By the way, Ham, I'm the guy that's always in Vegas playing the crap tables. So we have a good time going back and forth. But that Harry Markopolis guy provided red flags, evidence, dissertations about Bernie Madoff, and the SEC did nothing. Why, what is it going to take for them to actually make any sort of change or do their job? Even when it's like slapped in their face, they don't do anything. Like, how are they still like an organization at this point?
We put a truck up last Christmas, and we actually thanked them as though we were the naked short sellers and said, thank you very much for looking the other way. We insulted them. Right? I got to find the video of that, post it again. I don't understand. It's just amazing. And the reason we kept putting the truck up there, because we've had people call up, maybe 200-300 people a day at 12 o'clock every day for months. We did it. But our phone calls always, we don't know who's doing what with those phone calls, whether we're even listening to them, right? But with the truck there, we have video proof that we've done everything to whistleblow right at their front door. And when I showed it to the law enforcement, they can't believe that the truck was there and they've done nothing about it. So, I told them they were captured. They're looking the other way. They're protecting the criminals. And you know what? And they all understand it. And they all say the same thing. We're not the SEC. We lock people up. They can only charge you with civil crimes. So, again, these guys get it. The people I'm talking to understand it.
Absolutely, Max.
I drilled it down in baby formula for them, so they really do understand it. And I showed them how big it is. And I hopped around.
You're
I
right,
showed
Eric.
them many
SEC
names
sucks.
and how much money is stolen on a given day. And, now the crime is in real time. This is not a guy with a bag of 20s. This is, these guys are looting $100 million in a given day. So they understand it now. So the more they do stupid things, the easier it is for us to explain it. But again, I have no idea how they still stand. Got me.
Pedro, you want to take a stab at that question? Pedro de Philly.
In terms of
Let's go,
what
Pedro. Pedro's
specific question? I thought it was a little bit more of a statement.
Okay.
Yeah, I made a statement, but listen, all I know is, like you said, you've been blasting Gasparino. He's depressed, and this guy's turned and looked the other way. I have no idea why anyone depressed would look the other way on this subject. We're trying to protect the retail investor, and these guys want to. He's blatantly pissing. The more you annoy that guy, the more he tries to piss on the retail investors. It's amazing.
He's pissed because he knows that I know what his game is and what his act is.
Pedro's
Look, I
great.
was at a hedge fund in 1998 and through 2005, watching Charlie Gasparino on TV try to tell us that naked shorting didn't exist. He was doing that, and he was carrying the water for these guys 25 years ago, 23 years ago.
Right.
Okay, that was when the whole Overstock thing was going on, and they were trying to put Overstock out of business, and there was a lot of talk about naked shorting back in the 2000s, and he was out there shilling back then. So I break his stones. It is personal. The guy laughs at people who are losing money and have lost money, trying to
He's always going after
change
Charles
a corrupt
Gasparino.
system. He mocks and laughs, and he absolutely goes out to the highest bidder. He gets pissed off when I call him out when he gets his new talking points. It's
Gasparino's
obvious
like
because he sucks
5'3".
at reading a script, but it's obvious. I mean,
Thanks for how
he
tiny
went
he
on
is.
a thing that Elon overpaid by $40 billion. You can see when he gets his talking points. He was sucking DeSantis' junk for the longest time. I'm sure that's from Kenny because they were trying to push DeSantis, and then that ran out, and now he's he takes on the next thing. But it's that's where that comes from, and it is personal. I mean, it's the guy. He's running air cover for the people that do this.
I like chatting with you on Twitter too, Pedro, because Pedro's got all these great points. And
The guys from Forbes, whoever it may be, You know, I attacked the guy from Forbes for years. The guy wrote the story about Doe Foods. I'm blank on his name right now, but I attacked that guy for years. He would never even comment on his own story. That's right. 2017 I've been attacking this guy. It's 2024. And the only story he ever did was that naked short selling isn't real.
I read.
The next guy, Mark Levine, that was his name. And the next day, a guy got caught with a naked short selling scheme. That's how stupid these guys are. You know, it's just amazing that they don't want to protect anybody. And if we don't do it ourselves, no one's going to help us. So that's what we have to do.
Yeah. On a side note,
I want to jump off the bandwagon. I got it. But again, they're going to get you one way or the other. So you might as well hang out with them and do the right thing. Do whatever you can. Retweet something. Say what you feel. Dig up some information if you're searching around at night. It only helps. We can't read everything. You know, some people find great stuff. You know, Susan Trimbath has been talking a lot lately, and she must have this feeling that something's coming out because she's been quiet for a long time, and all of a sudden she got very vocal again, posting a lot of stuff. So it's good.
Great, Pedro.
Yeah, I tweeted tonight that the South Korea stuff in Thailand. It's no coincidence that these two countries all of a sudden are investigated naked shorting. It's obvious, and that they're catching on to this, that these big major banks are facilitating the siphoning of money out of their countries via naked shorting. And these countries are waking up because the economies are slowing down because of higher interest rates, and they're starting to look around and they're starting to realize, wait a minute, what's going on? And there's a video that was been going around where Wes Christian was in there and whatnot, and around the 15-minute mark, he nails it. He talks just about the contingent liability that sits at these major banks and broker dealers. It is so big and so massive that it can melt the system, and it can. And I just want to remind people that you may think, well, why is Thailand or why is
the SEC
South
avoids
Korea,
it because it's protecting the bankers, Mario.
Well, how can that impact our stock here? Well, Germany is number one, but Thailand was also in the mix, where these companies were getting listed. U.S.-based companies were being listed they're still being listed in Germany and Thailand as a means by which to avoid FTDs and to stay out of Reg Show. The use of German exchanges, and for people that don't know, on the German exchanges, any market participant,
I believe a market crash will cause a
get
squeeze
a company
DD.
listed. The company has no say. They don't even know it went on. I literally, no joke, won $100 from the CFO of Green Mountain Coffee when I told our analyst to tell him that he was listed in Germany.
GMCR, am I correct? GMCR?
Yeah, GMCR. And our analyst called him and said, hey, a trader buddy of ours saying that you guys were listed in Frankfurt. He's like, look, we're not on the Frankfurt Exchange. I said, look, I'll bet you $100 you're listed on the Frankfurt Exchange. He goes, we did not authorize any listing in Germany. I said, I'm telling you, you're listed in Germany. You can call me back and send me the $100 tomorrow. And sure as shit, he called back and they spent. This was great. This wasn't a small company at the time. It was a multi-billion-dollar company. They could not get off the German exchange with their lawyers, everything else. They could not get themselves removed. And what happened is
Trump's not our only
back
answer.
to my point. The Thailand exchanges and the German exchanges are used as loopholes to circumvent Reg SHO, which was put in place around 2005 to specifically try to thwart naked shorting. So that's how long this shit's all been going on. It's been going on for decades, okay? And so that's where it can be impactful because it's just one domino that happens, right? If they lose their ability to hide their position in Thailand, well, then they can't move it, or they can't, move it from there to somewhere else. And once these countries start picking up on it, it just makes it more difficult. And then, Ham was saying earlier that I'm sure he would agree that the crimes that they're committing in the markets is the difference between literally sneaking into a bank in the middle of the night versus coming in at noon during the lunch hour and robbing the place. They're being forced to be much more blatant with their crimes because they're getting flushed out, and they're having to pull more outrageous shit to manage their liabilities. And so that's where I say that there's no coincidence that South Korea and Thailand just happened to investigate naked shorting at the same time. It's no coincidence that Doug Sifu's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, getting in fights with people about Bed Bath & Beyond when nobody even asked his opinion. You got Gasbag running air cover for Sifu, who's freaking out. There's
Mario,
something
you guys
going
need to
on
win,
behind
beat
the
a winning
curtain.
team first.
And then lastly,
Once you beat a winning team, we'll talk.
Is that I just want to remind people how fast things can change. Go back. I was looking at GTII. It went from 63 cents to $8.98 in 9 trading days. This shit happens fast. And so just as miserable as some of these journeys have been, these I call them the Kenny G death marches. We've all been stuck in a Kenny G death march where they just beat your head in for 6 straight months and 80%. And you're like, what the hell is going on? This shit changes fast. So, just keep fighting and realize that we are going to get some type of a resolution. The shit's going to break loose. To what magnitude? I have no idea. If it's as bad as, Wes and other people like myself think that it could melt some big banks, yeah, I think so. I think that could absolutely happen. And the bigger risk is, do they let it happen, and can they stop it from happening? And I don't know the answers to that, but when this shit happens, it's going to happen fast, and there won't be any
lightning quick.
You won't be able to chase it. You will not be able to bring yourself, go back and look at GTII, right?
Yep.
As an example, the stock went from 63 cents and it went to $3 in 2 days. Now you're actually going to step up and buy the stock after it's gone from 63 cents to $3? No.
Nope.
You have to be taking the beating and be involved, and then manage it properly
on the way out
when it happens. But I just wanted to remind people that it happens quick. Go back and look at charts of big moves. They happen quick.
Yep, 100%.
You got to be in it to win it. That's what we say.
That's right.
Like the lottery.
Yep. Put your head down and do it.
Risk what you have to do, but again, do your homework. It's all there in front of you. If we're right, there's life-changing events. Again, Green Mountain Coffee, I think, went from $5 to 130. I think. I can't remember what happened to it. Pedro, what happened to it?
Which one?
Green Mountain. Did it get acquired? I can't remember what happened.
Yeah, they ended up. Yeah, that was a major saga, right? So they were naked shorting that thing when it was like 5, and then the K cups busted out, and the stock went nuts, and that's when all the German stuff started happening and all the weird trading, and then they figured out that the CEO and founder had pledged his shares against some other
Max. I appreciate that, man.
So then they actually
David.
naked shorted the stock low enough to force a margin call from the CEO, and then back and forth, and then ultimately
this will be a good call for him, Mad Max.
I think it was taken private.
Lots of good info here. Lots of good prices.
I remember it about over $100. I remember it got squeezed. It went crazy. I forgot about that. FCR. I remember. I think
the other example that was like Dole Foods is, Green Mountain Coffee bought this company called Dietrich Coffee, DDRX, and I think they bought Dietrich for like $21 a share, and Dietrich made the donut shop K cup, which is just like crack if you've ever had it, and the day that they were closing the transaction, the buyout price, they bought it for cash. I think it was 21, and the stock went out at, I think, 23. Went out $2 above the official deal price because it was so heavily naked shorted that they had to pay above.
What's up, Johnny?
I don't even know how that was ever even settled, but it closed on the last day of trading above the takeout.
Go ahead, Ham.
Hey, Joe, my older brother told me a story one time. A company got acquired, and it traded $10 higher. They were closing it out. They couldn't get any stock. They couldn't buy back the stock. Everyone tendered their shares to the company on the takeover, and the shorts had to cover, and the stock was up 10 points or 12 points higher. I'll get the symbol tomorrow from, but that's what happens with these names.
Yeah, it happened in Dietrich, and We wondered because we were heavily involved in it. We just wondered like what happens is the DTC come in and they just make everything right and then they just push the stuff away. Like what the hell? Like how is how is
so
that settled?
silly.
But I never knew. But there's plenty of examples of all this stuff, and it's there's a lot of I call it behind the curtain. I get the sense there's a lot of chaos going on behind the curtain, and like Ham said, Suzanne seems to come across whatever. Then you watch this interview with Wes and these other guys that I was watching tonight, and they're pressing forward on some other lawsuits. There's a lot of toothpaste that's been pushed out of the tube here, and how it manifests itself, I don't know, but something's going to happen. Hopefully before I die.
All right, thank you.
All right, go ahead. I think Joe had another question. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, my question is along those lines. So what is the trigger? What actually forces the settlement? I know, like you said, like the NCS, they can never stop.
It's awesome, Max. Well done.
The stock market can't be closed for more than 3 days because of NCS. And I forget what exactly he said along those lines as to why. But obviously the whole thing is just total fraud. Because if I buy something at the grocery store, my Amex card has it posted either later that day or the next day. So it's obviously possible to do it. They don't want to do it. So what triggers the final, nail in the coffin for these people to be like, nope, you're getting bought in. Enough is enough. Game's over. We're all screwed, and we're cutting our losses. Like, what does that day look like?
I think it's going to happen with law enforcement. I think we have the right people looking at counterfeiting. They know how massive it is now. I think when they come out and say something, all right, like the DOJ came out and said they're going after these short and distort guys, right? They made that statement, and then Andrew Left had a story put out by his good buddies. I'm living in fear. Andrew Left robbed more companies he's destroyed more companies with his fake stories than anybody. He should be living in fear. He's living in Beverly Hills. He stole a ton of money. He used to be called Stock Lemon. He used to bash penny stocks, and then he figured out moving up the ladder that they could destroy $100 stocks. They fall 10, 12 points at a clip. So buying, a couple of thousand puts and driving the stock down 10, 12 points real quick, they can make themselves a quick $500,000 every couple of days. That's what they were doing, and that's his crimes. But the DOJ said they're going after the short and distort. We need the Secret Service to go after saying, hey, they need to put a statement out saying, counterfeiters of the U.S. equity market, if we catch you, you're going to jail. No ifs, ands, or buts. That's all they need to say, and the game would be over. That's something that would end it. That would end it immediately, because that means the Secret Service is here. They don't have to name a stock that they're investigating. They just send that blanket statement, and we can do the rest, and they'll be exposed in 2 minutes. That's what I see happening.
You have another person that came.
I'm going to Asia to throw the U.S. under the bus over there, so that's what I'm going there for.
Go ahead, just me.
Pedro just said this to me.
Ace, you're cracking me up, brother.
Just me, can you hear me? You gotta unmute yourself. Okay, let me drop him down. He's not responding. All right, William, you're next. What's going on, William?
I guess I'll just respond to some of the stuff I just heard. First, I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and in particular, give thanks to Ham for spearheading this and leading this and educating and never losing his energy, because now we're I don't know how many we are. I would guess 20,000 people, maybe more, who understand this. And once seen, it can't be unseen. Once understood, we can't be fooled again. And I think that's something to be thankful for. anyway, I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. It's good to hear from Pedro.
It's really good to hear from
because,
Pedro. Love
as
it.
Ham always repeats, I'll never forget Pedro saying months ago, "These guys sell without fear," and it's like they know they have the cops, the government, the Congress, the journal. BlackRock controls the 6 media houses in the country.
So
anyway, it's good to hear from him. The one thing that I think's hard for everyone to comprehend, and I could be wrong, but I think it's our own banks, our own funds that are doing this. I think these Jeff Eastons and Kramers are just fronts for criminals. But when you have $100 billion or $1 trillion to manage, you cannot get these rates of return year in and year out without cheating, without breaking the law. And I think this is the way they break the law. You remember that thing out there with the toad on the front of it?
They're going to rip Ron.
Talked about
I am having fun.
that, and they also talked
learning
about
from
how
great men.
in one
great. I'm
year,
sure a woman will come at some point.
Going through one institution, or one, maybe it was one stock exchange overseas, one bourse, 27 trillion with a T. 1 year, $27 trillion with a T, and it goes largely untaxed. And I don't know how anybody could be a quisling for this, be a coward for this, be a
Pedro, you got too much time on your hands, man.
And support it. I don't understand as a country how we have let this go. Gasparino, that was fun hearing that, because I responded to I don't have a copy of it, to the New York Post article, and gas, what a bag of gas. And I asked some of the questions, the things.
Here's what Ham's drinking tonight, guys.
Just said, and Ham just said, it was nice to hear that. What a piece of shit that guy is. I do want to point out that there's some hope on the MMTLP side. I don't expect anything before the end of the year, but because of all of you all, there's going to be proof. I mean, they might cover it up with a big settlement, and I think they'll come in large with their settlement just to close it down, and that'll be good for anyone in MMTLP or NextBridge. And I do think this will also fund NextBridge, as my videos of a year, over a year ago. But I don't expect it right away. But anyway, it's because of your hard work, and that's something else to be thankful for. Rick's show was something that was set up to give Wall Street, these self-regulating bastards, who the hell ever thought the banks could self-regulate other than that salesman-in-chief, Bill Clinton? But it was supposed to give them time to make it better, to slowly unwind these. I differ a little bit with Ham and Pedro. Yes, it's been around for decades, but it's been so much worse since Reg's show and over the last decade. It's just been bigger. And I guess that's probably the last thing I had to say.
Pedro, did you want to chime in? Ham? Did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think it's probably bigger now,
Pedro,
but I think it's more obvious now. That's what I was saying. I would agree with you. It's accelerated. It's the worst I've ever seen it. I know Ham's been at it a long time. I can legitimately say I've been at it for 17 years. You know, I was tracking securities sold, not yet purchased by Knight Securities in 2012. Right? Going, wait a minute, these guys are naked short, all sorts of shit, and they could never possibly cover this stuff. That was 2011 or 12, right? They went out of business, and 6 months later when they had a software glitch. I think a lot of it is, it's gotten worse, but I think it's they're getting flushed out. The GameStop saga and what happened there,
That's too funny.
it disrupted the whole thing, and they've been scrambling and trying to put the toothpaste back in, and the criminals are being forced to be more blatant to save themselves. I say it over and over again. This is an existential threat to everything they are. This can bring down major banks, because this all just doesn't happen in a vacuum at just Alpine or whatever. This is a global business. It is an actuarial business model that's facilitated with everybody having their hand in the fucking cookie jar. I say it all the time. We have no advocates. None. You would think there would be some advocate within the mutual fund industry, the Johnson family of Fidelity, or somewhere. Well, whoever owns E-Trade or whatever out in Nebraska.
Nice.
You would think there would be some big vocal voice for retail against naked shorting.
Mario,
we don't
I can't
have one. Not one.
Retail as a percentage of business, I don't remember. Unfortunately, I have to make up the number, but when I first got in, retail was a huge part of business. But now I think it's 10%. You have to see. Well, it all goes together. I would just disagree with that. And what do you think it is? It's hard to measure, but what would you? I mean, if you define ownership of mutual funds as retail, yeah, it's bigger. But I don't think Wall Street really caters to retail anymore.
I respectfully disagree there. It's built on retail. The entire mutual fund industry.
I think we're there
retail.
I think we're
and
there.
You still have 50% of assets that are actively managed. That's Capital Research. That's Fidelity. That's whatever. Then you add in the index guys. It's built on retail. But my point is,
that's a lot of color.
We might be saying
a lot of color in those uniforms.
But I think once the money is agglomerated in these big pools, they're taking advantage of us, and they're lending that out.
But it's retail money that's the fuel that keeps the fire going.
Yeah, we're if you don't know the sucker at the table, we are.
Yeah, that's right.
It's hard to measure what is retail anyway, but anyway, I agree with the things you said. One of the things that we always have to say naked short sellers. I wish we had a different
just sending them to me now. They're just popping up.
But there's apologists out there that say this stuff doesn't go on, and say that these are just big. You can
come to me busy. I don't know how much I got.
They settle the trades later. They cover later. They deliver later. Well, I won't read it all to you, but in the SEC filing against Savvy Management,
I got it.
I just happened to open the page 8. The source to locate must be documented. They need to locate the shares in writing.
Guys, if you got questions, now's the time to ask them.
Even if somehow
I'll put them out there for them.
And 6 months and now they're going to cover it.
Again, Pedro,
the
Ham,
SEC
William,
in their filing against Mintz, and this is all reg show. You've got to locate the shares before you sell.
I know.
They don't.
Let's go. Optimus, go ahead. You have the mic.
Optimus is good too.
Go ahead, Optimus.
Okay.
But yeah, if you guys got questions, ask them now
briefly,
in the chat. Okay?
I really think, and I've been saying this for a long time, we do ourselves a disservice when we use the phrase naked short selling. Every time someone says naked short selling, a fairy loses their wings in the expression of It's a Beautiful Life. Please try to use the phrase counterfeiting or selling unregistered shares.
Yeah.
That is the way we are going to gain traction with new people. Naked short selling sounds like some kind of technical form of selling, arbitrage, whatever you want to call it, where people can
Optimus is
sell
awesome,
and
man.
I don't understand
You know he's a
it, but
Niners
I know
fan. He
short
always
selling
hits me up when the
exists.
Niners win.
Counterfeiting is what we're talking about. We're not talking about locating and borrowing and delivering and settling. We're talking
keep
about
the
selling
questions coming, guys. I'll try to get them all up
shares.
there.
However it's
Is it
being
the same
done,
pattern?
it's being done perhaps with mismarked tickets, as has been documented so many times.
Wrong.
It's being done with a wink and a nod between broker-dealers and market makers. It doesn't matter. But every time we use that term, naked short selling, I think we hurt ourselves. That's just my opinion.
He's right.
You want to jump in there?
Well, I know Optimus. He's older than my dogs, so I know him a long time. He's right. He's a good man. He's been around a long time. He's been in meetings with me and Patrick Byrne in San Francisco. Great guy. Listen, most people never heard of him, but he's an expert. He knows what he's talking about. So again, he's been around a long time. So good guy.
Thanks, Sam.
I think he's educating everyone else. That's what it's about. It was me to him to his cousin to his friend, and here we bumped into Pedro, and going back in time, Christina in that movie, and everyone in that movie came from me.
Yep. 15 years ago, I had drinks with Suzanne Trimbath at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. I know all the people. Wes has known me for a long time, but we've got to really change the narrative. And I think what's happening right now, I am encouraged by what's happening in South.
Optimus, you're breaking up.
You live on the West Coast. You have no cell service. Get out of that place.
Optimus, are you there? Optimus, you there? Yeah, he's breaking.
Yeah, cut his ass off. He's got no cell service.
Go ahead, try it again. You're encouraged by what's happening where?
In South Korea and Thailand. This is good stuff.
Okay. And we didn't hear anything else you said after that. So just.
Sorry.
He said, wait him to get there. That's what he was saying.
I'm going to try it again. You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just saying I'm encouraged by what's happening in South Korea and Thailand, and also by everything that's happening on Ham's front in terms of certain agencies.
Any other
and I
questions,
think
guys?
that we need to keep our narrative super strong, super clear, and unambiguous. This is counterfeiting. Plain and simple. It's counterfeiting. They put people in jail for 10 years for a $20 bill, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. We're talking about trillions, soon to be quadrillions. We've got to stop using naked short selling, in my opinion.
Thank you. Let's go to Ham, did you want to say something?
No, 100%. That's why I twisted that term a long time ago. Is to stop with the naked short selling. That's a Wall Street term. No one understands it. Counterfeiting, everybody does.
Let's try Just Me. Are you there? Just Me. Unmute yourself, sir. Or ma'am. All right, go ahead, Ace. You got anything from your side?
Yeah, hold up.
Ace, you got to unmute yourself.
Sorry, my phone got stuck. Yeah, I got a couple of questions from my audience here. First of all, is it the same pattern? I thought Ham could answer that. Secondly, okay, so do any of you guys think we're in for any kind of market crash, any craziness like that?
Yes, I believe there's a lot of things happening, and I think that listen, when you see them manipulate the market, jamming it up every day, that's the plunge protection team jamming it up. You know there's bad things going on. I told you the other night on the call, I go to the gas station, I'm like, how my gas price is not ripping when we stole the fuel from the National Reserve? I mean, what else is going on? This is just a matter of time, before this thing explodes. But there's too many bad things going on. I don't know anything good happening. everyone I talk to is not doing well. All right. So again, I don't know where the economy's ripping from, but again, it's going to come to an end. And when it does fall, believe me, things fall very fast. As you can see, when they attack the shorts, when they attack us on our names, look how fast they go down. All right. Think about these stocks that are $400, $500. Think how fast. Those companies should be all splitting their stocks. Like NVIDIA should be splitting its stock now. Because, when a stock goes down, so let's say they split it and it goes to $40. When it goes down $1, people don't really panic on it. When a stock's down 10 or 20, that's when it's too volatile. So that's when they start splitting those names. So I think you'll start seeing that soon. When you start seeing big names split, all right, they're splitting because they don't need the volatility in their stock. And you know what? That's what happens. Good.
I think you're right about the plunge protection team, or whatever you want to call it. The Fed is buying everything. So I think there could be a year-end rally. However, I think the wars, or the beginnings of wars around the world, are possibly a way of getting using that number again, trillions of dollars into the banking system, because I think the banks are broke, and even the Fed might be broke. But I think the single biggest risk to the market is if you listen to the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, even if you listen to our own words, it is quite possible that something, you'd have to be my age to remember, but a oil embargo could happen again because of the massive potential war breakout in the Middle East. That's mine. That could be the surprise.
Go ahead, Ace. You have any more questions?
Yeah, what's do you guys, any of you guys have insight into all the stuff coming out on UBS? Because it looks like UBS is in some serious trouble.
No, you just dropped that minutes ago. Our crackerjack research team hasn't come up with an answer yet, but it sounds like it's in trouble. It's good enough for me.
I think Pedro wants to chime in on that. Go ahead, Pedro.
Well, I mean, it's no different than why J.P. Morgan was forced to buy Bear Stearns. Is that there's some institutions that they can never let the secrets out. So when Archegos happened, that was the first domino that took down CSFB, but they could never, ever, ever let CSFB actually get into a bankruptcy and true liquidation. So then you had UBS was forced to come in and swallow CSFB and all their bad decisions, all their toxic liabilities that UBS probably opened a hood and said, "Holy Christ!" Like, "Oh my God, what?" And now UBS is a monstrous company. I mean, it is multiples times.
I saw 1.6 trillion.
Yeah, but CSFB is clearly causing massive indigestion for UBS. UBS could have looked under the hood and said, "You're what? What the fuck?" And now they can't possibly have a come to Jesus because they can't afford to come to Jesus. Yeah. So what they do is it takes time, and that's what Ham said earlier. It takes time to fudge all this shit, and they start wars. They do all sorts of crap. But there's no doubt that there's serious issues. And look, there's varying degrees of what could happen to the market. And that's a much longer conversation. I could talk about it a lot, but you can have varying, just like anything else. You can have varying degrees of the market crash, or it doesn't, or it does. Depends on what comes out and whatever. Based on the pure liability, there's no doubt in my mind the counterfeit share liability, and I think the gentleman who spoke before is correct. The term we should use is counterfeiting is the better term to use than naked shorting. Yeah. The unfunded liability that exists out there is even just on a mark-to-market basis on what we know. Just do the simple math on the 5 or 6 big companies that we know that have securities sold not yet purchased. You do a little back of the envelope, say, okay, 20% of that is counterfeit shares in microcaps, okay, and then you can do the math and say, wait a minute, if we get a move in these in these names, like if you get 1,000 stocks that do what GTI did or Finger did, which is go up 5, 10x in a short period of time, all these firms would be on paper out of business because you can see their long exposure and their short exposure, and if you add it up and then this goes up 5x, it dwarfs what they have on the long side. So, but there's no doubt about that. And UBS, of course, they're going to have indigestion because they were forced to at gunpoint to swallow CSFB's sins of the previous 50 years.
Yeah.
50 years. Think about that. Everybody on this phone call will be dead. That's when you can find out about what happened to Credit Suisse. Think how crazy that is. 50 years.
It's crazy.
They hide in the facts.
Correct.
Go ahead, Ace.
Did anybody see that bond deleted by UBS? I think the DTCC deleted a bond. They were, I can't remember exactly what happened. It was up on, it was passed around Twitter the other day. It just seemed pretty crazy. So there's a lot of talk about that, about debt being deleted at this point. I don't even know how that's possible, but I saw the screenshot. Anybody else see that?
I saw it, but I can't speak to it because you don't know what's real, what's not,
Sure.
what's authenticated, what's not. You know, do we know that they will do anything possible to avoid triggering the domino? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, until it becomes either shows up in the market someplace and you see some anomaly in something where you're like, wait a minute, that's being caused by something, and then you can see more and more of it. I think it's hard to kind of run with it or to really talk about it.
Yeah, makes sense. I actually don't really have any other questions coming up right now.
All right, you're good. Well, I mean, we've been running already for an hour. Ham, are you still good, or you got to go?
I'm just sitting here watching the football game. That's all.
Well, I got a quick question, actually. I just had Ham. Do we have an example of another stock that maybe switched to an international, like say the idea of like Finger jumping onto the South Korean exchange?
I don't have that. I didn't study it. I didn't go back, but my whole business plan was based on you have to fill out a Form 25, and you delist in the U.S. and you go to a new exchange. The new exchange that I had set up would only accept the original shares. So, for example, let's say Finger Motion, if they were to delist to go list in South Korea, the only thing that would be able to go over would be the 24 million at the DTC. Right? That's the only free trading shares. How do you transfer 200 million more? You can't do it. That would have to be settled before it goes to the foreign land. That's what goes on. So the squeeze would happen here, and the company then would go crazy and be listed in Korea. And after everything would be wiped out, all the shorts would be wiped out, it'd be a normal company. That's how you do it. And that's why companies do filings like like Finger Motion did to have money in place if they have a need to raise money. Let's say Finger Motion takes off tomorrow. They can raise up to $300 million because they already did all the filing on it. Most companies don't have the filing in place. They do it later on, in which case the street comes in on it and they stop the upside. Yeah. Having it in place is the best thing.
If I can jump in there for a second, there. Anybody who talks to any managements of any small companies, every small company should absolutely 100% have an ATM in place to be able to hit bids in the event of a crazy squeeze. And I'll give you a real quick example. IZEA, I talk about it all the time. It's a $2.40 stock. It's got over $4 in cash, no debt. They do about 38, 40 million bucks in revenues. It's been this is one of the stocks that I cut my teeth on the naked shorting side of things. This stock in 2017 traded 350 million shares in a 5-day period when there were only 11 million shares outstanding. All right, so this was happening way long ago. But I got to know management fairly well back in whatever, and they were on death's door. And I said, look, these things are going to break apart here. You have to be prepared for one of these squeezes again, because it went through a series of these crazy runs. They had to do a reverse split. They had to do a reverse split even though they had $1.50 in cash. The shorts kept the stock below $1 when they had $1.50 in cash, and they still got their reverse split. But I convinced the company. I said, "Look, you have to have an ATM in place." And they're like, we can't raise money here. I mean, we're at 30 cents or 40 cents to us. I said, it doesn't matter. You're going to get another massive one of these squeezes. And you want to be able to pick up the phone, call your broker, and start smacking bids. Don't call some corrupt banker who's going to hang up the phone, and his first phone call is going to be to a hedge fund who says they're raising money. Go start shorting it, and whatever. Long story short, GME happened. You can overlay the chart of IZEA with GME. It went tick for tick all the way into January 21st of 2021. But guess what? They got the cryptic phone call from a hedge fund directly. Hey, we really want to buy 10 million shares from you at $7.50. You know what they did? Sold to you. And they raised $75 million. And the reason why the company's not out of business right now is because they hit the bid in 2021 because they were prepared with an ATM. So anybody who talks to any small company, it doesn't matter if they're going to raise money, and fine, you'll take some flack from your investors. Why are you doing that? You're going to raise money. It doesn't matter. Have it in place. It can save your company.
Makes sense.
I'll shut up.
No, it's good.
Hey, Ace, let me go to a hand real quick here at the, in the space call. Go ahead, Rocco. Rocco.
Hi, guys.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Something, I'm in all these stocks, but I wasn't GNS. I did sell that one. But something hit me today. With GNS, this has been about 6-8 months ago, they said that they had an ex-FBI director on their board. And they kind of hinted, that this guy was going to do something about it, this naked shorting or counterfeiting. And nothing's ever happened. And I'm thinking, well, if you're an ex-FBI director, you have to have a lot of pull and a lot of connections. And if that guy can't call somebody and say, hey, there's a crime going on here that is unbelievably huge and can't get any action on it, it's kind of discouraging. Does anybody have any comments to that? That an ex-FBI director can't get anybody?
I call him Roger Rabbit. I spoke with him. And he told me he had the FBI director that he was going to bring on. Northwest Bio had an ex-CIA guy on there. If you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you're wasting your time. I don't care who you are, ex, this, that. You could have been the king of the FBI. If you don't know what's going on, these guys are like light years behind. From Philly, Pedro from Philly knows more about it than anybody does. That's the person they need to hire, not a former FBI executive, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know how to explain it going up to chain of command. So I think when they do that stuff, to me, unless they know what they're talking about, they're wasting their time.
Yeah, well, you'd think the FBI director would say, hey, you got to talk to this guy Ham. This guy will tell you what's going on. But it's just...
Listen, so you understand, a lot of these companies I speak to, once I talk to them, they go about their own way, and they go about this half-assed, and that's what they do. So I can't determine what they're doing, but I know when I speak to them, they don't know what the hell's going on. I'll give you an example of that. I spoke with the board of directors and the lawyers of Heliogen, HYGN, I think it is, HLGN. I can't remember the symbol. The company got delisted from the New York Stock Exchange the other day. The stock dropped from $2.75 down to 60 cents, bounced back up, and the company has $100 million in cash, and I believe only 3 million shares in the float. $100 million in cash, 100 plus. But because of the price of the stock, the New York Stock Exchange kicked them off because they didn't meet the requirements that it needed to be listed there. That's the only reason it got kicked off. And because it got kicked off, the shorts attacked it and drove it down. That was after a split, a 1 for 35 reverse split. So this company already got rated. They reversed it. It went back up to 10, and it's back to it was down to 60 cents again.
Yeah, to interrupt. That's how that's how you know the regulators are on board. They have this arbitrary $1 rule with there's no ability to argue your case. Like in IZEA's case, they couldn't go in front of a board and say, wait a minute, guys, we have zero debt and we have $1.48 in cash. Why are we being forced to reverse split our stock? They don't even have a arbitration, an ability to do it. It is, and that tells you that they're like lighthouses for the shorts. right? Keep this thing under $1 for this long. You can get this, this, and this. It blows my mind.
Yes, they use those rules against you. Merrill Lynch has the Merrill Lynch rule. If you don't meet their requirements, you get delisted. Merrill Lynch, everyone in the Merrill Lynch system, everyone Merrill Lynch clears, cannot own the stock. It's the Merrill Lynch rule. If you can go look at it, CNBC did a story on it. I think it's 300 million market cap, and I forget the price of the stock, or it has to meet a certain price. If you don't meet the requirements, you're out. And they kick them off. And when the company gets delisted or Merrill Lynch says sell it, everyone in their system who has an account at Merrill Lynch has to sell it. Anyone who clears Merrill Lynch, sell it. No one's going to transfer their accounts, so then everyone sells it. So they actually help the shorts.
That's exactly right. 100% right.
You know the Merrill Lynch rule. Why, when you use it, to go hurt everybody? That's what they do.
100%.
All right, let's go to another hand. Go ahead, Swing.
And there was another one that I talked about. I think it was on Wednesday night in the space. SPRC, SciSpark. They got some good news this morning. They're merging with a company in Israel. The stock's up this month like 124%, 62% for the week. 500, just over 500,000 shares outstanding. It traded 34 times that today. At one point, it hit like 90% up and ended up closing at about 30%. A dark pool trade was over 65%, but 34 times a float in one day.
Sadly, I'm not even shocked. I should be, but I've seen, I don't know if you heard me earlier, IZEA traded 350 million shares in 5 days when it had 10 million shares outstanding.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, this wasn't even the highest volume day either. I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday of last week. It had traded in excess of about 50 million.
All right.
I tell everybody, stop worrying about volume. The volume is all fake.
Let's back Ace, and then we'll go to William in case he has anything else. Go ahead, Ace.
I did have one person asking that if Alpine's involved in shorting it at all, and if they are actually doing some of the shorting, do they have to do a carry fee themselves?
They have to do a carry fee themselves?
Yeah, I think he's asking if Alpine's actually doing some of the shorting themselves instead of just being the broker for it.
Absolutely. Alpine is part of the crime family. They're the gatekeeper. They have you saw all the LLCs they have. I could post it again.
Mm-hmm.
A network of LLCs. You know that Alpine is the prime broker. These the Kramers come in and start shorting, let's say, GTI. Alpine's going to say, hey, we're joining in also. It's not, if you're doing it to us, we know you have a debenture. We're going to short with you. That's what they do. They're like the mafia. They're taking a piece of everyone's action and couldn't care less. Alpine was busted because they had no more money. When the stock ran to 10, they were free riding it, as we call it. You can't buy a stock. Let's say you buy a stock, 1,000 shares of stock, and it runs up 10 points. You can't get that profit till you pay for the stock. That's called free riding. These guys are free riding on the short side. When the stock went up, they didn't have the money to maintain the margin. And when the stock was up there, the DTC caught them. I used to say every day, how are these guys staying alive without any money? And they didn't have any money. So that's what they don't want to risk their money. They're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
If you have $1 million stolen, you may put $20 million in an account, but the other money is going to be gone. That's what they do. So they back this thing with very little money. Because if you get caught in one thing, let's say you get caught in GTII and it runs $20, you could lose $1 billion on the short.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why these guys they use very little money. If they go bust, they file bankruptcy. That's it. And they stick to depository trust with the problem. The DTC caught Alpine because they don't have enough money. Now they're trying to shut them down. And Alpine's doing everything in the world to try to stay open.
Let's see. Could buy-in start just by the Secret Service applying pressure even before charges filed?
If the Secret Service investigating naked short selling and you're going to jail, it'll be a rocket. Trust me.
Game set match.
And the people we're talking to are with us on friendly terms. So it's not like I'm going knocking on the door, hoping someone will answer my questions. Very different.
That's awesome. Let's see. Somebody wants to know how Benzinga is sharing Capybara articles so quickly, even though they have 4 articles ever. But I don't think we know that, other than they're all just in it together.
It's
the distribution of content, right?
Yeah.
Sending them their content, and they're posting on their site. And whatever symbol the stock is, it pops up on every platform.
Yeah.
All right?
It's a news service.
Hey, we get information from Benzinga. We cannot confirm that it's we don't check into it. So when the shit hits the fan, Fidelity's going to say, hey, we have nothing to do with this fake story. It's coming from Benzinga. We pay them for content. Go bust their balls. That's what they're going to say.
Great, William.
So Benzinga's going to go. He's going to take the bullet soon.
Ham's right. It's just you just pay to have it distributed. But it's interesting, Ace, going back to your question on UBS, Benzinga just put out a headline, UBS CEO eyes private buyer in hypothetical recovery scenario, touts itself as one of the world's safest large banks, report.
Wow.
This is just massive.
We could say that, then we could say that GTI is one of the safest investments. It's better than Apple Computer. We could say the same thing, right?
What would
we
be
we were never allowed to say that. We could never use that word.
Yeah.
Safe.
Would a UBS collapse be on the same level as, say, Morgan, or even Lehman Brothers?
Now, it depends. To me, it depends on how much risk is there. But to me, no. I think it's already priced in. What's really scary? I agree with Pedro and Ham about the huge non-located illegal sales of non-existent stock. But they do this with bonds as well. They're doing it in bonds and precious metals. And if the bond market tips over, oh my gosh, it's going to be much bigger. But anyway, that's my answer. I don't think UBS, I think the whole world knows UBS is in trouble.
Okay. Let's see. Someone's asking if the Secret Service could shut down algos and bank accounts. I would guess yes on bank accounts, definitely. But I don't know.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Because the whole thing set up for all they want is, and Pedro Kababi, when they took away the uptick rule, they wanted trading volume. That's all they want. The more volume, the better. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with fundamentals. I told you 1,000 times. The tail is wagging the dog. The dog is the public company. They should be dictating what's going on. It's the opposite. Stock settlement controls the whole public company. It's impossible. It should never happen. It has nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just Google SEC stock trading fees. They get paid every trade. And it's on a dollar volume per whatever. So that's the register ringing. It's like you're trying to incentivize them to cut off their money line.
Wow.
Part of the problem.
What? That's pretty messed up way to design the system for regulating. Anybody have information on GDC? I know there was a lot of word about that this week, or excitement.
All right, my friend bought 400,000 shares. I told you at 418, and told me the other day I had my daughter purchase it at 380, and it went down obviously. And from what I gather, they tell me that the stock is going to turn and go. That's all. I trust the guy who told me, and that's what I know. That's all I know about.
Okay, this one quick. Have you guys been hearing anything repercussions of all the AI stuff going on? with like Altman being kicked out? Is that affecting the market at all?
But I think it's upsetting. I think it's upsetting all the AI companies and what's going on. I couldn't tell you exactly. I can't predict the future on that. I have no idea.
Okay.
I think StarNet is going to fight back.
Give me a second. Let's go to Big JR. Go ahead, Big JR. Big JR, you there?
Oh, hey guys, how's it going?
Good. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, you caught me. I wasn't expecting to jump on there so quick, but hey, Pedro, everybody. Hey, William. Hey, Ham. Hey, Pedro, I have two quick questions for you. Did you know who invented the software, the algorithm software for Jane Street Capital?
No, I did not.
It's SBF. Did you know? Yeah, I thought you'd like that. He actually did it for the OTC algorithms, which is just crazy. But anyway, Can you talk, Pedro? Can you talk a little bit about? Say that I'm a clearing firm or prime broker. You can call me, Clown Pine, I guess, if you want. And what if I wanted to make it short? How does the one-sided bids and quotes and all that play into it? I remember Wes mentioning something about that. I know in some of the Wells investigations documents they put out for the case, they actually talked about exactly them doing that, just providing one-sided quotes and then only fulfilling orders for their clients.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot there. You have shop like Wedbush that were giving a direct access through their platform to 2,000 different foreign accounts without any oversight. So they were marking tickets as long sales when they're actually short sales. And then you have corrupt compliance and back office that's facilitating this. And then it just becomes managing the liability and managing the IOUs. If it becomes a problem, then they move the position over to Germany or they move it offshore. And they do all that kind of stuff. And then you have the market making side of things. So when the Madoff exemption went in, which was the market maker exemption, it's known as the Madoff exemption, that basically there was a land grab to become a market maker then, because that basically legalized the counterfeiting of shares, because you don't need to borrow nor report a short sale if you are a bona fide market maker. Well, bona fide market maker, meaning you have to have a two-sided market within a certain parameters, but the regulators haven't even really enforced that at all. So you have market makers that are just proprietary trading shops with the moniker market maker that gives them the rights and privileges to sell without borrowing or reporting. And so, I can show you an article where FINRA went around asking for input because none of that stuff is accounted for in the reported numbers. So the reported numbers are just bunk because they don't capture swaps and they don't capture proprietary desks or any of the other stuff. And then on top of it, you have the market makers are allowed to lease out their seat. It's absurd. They can actually lease out. I learned that from on a YouTube with Wes Christian and the Share Intel guy and whatever. My jaw dropped, and I've been around a long time. I never even knew that these guys could get, if you become a market maker, that you can then lease out your seat.
That's what Wedbush does.
Yeah, that's correct. The Wedbush got busted for literally providing access to 2,000 foreign accounts, completely unmonitored, and they're not shut down. It's the whole thing's ludicrous. But to try to get back to your point, I don't know how it actually works because I've never naked shorted stocks. When I was on the buy side, it was a different world. We had an uptick rule, and you could sit all day and try to short 10 million shares, and you get 1,100 shares executed.
That's right.
I think he got a phone call or he's done. Big JR, you have anything else?
That's it for now. I just thanks, Pedro. I just wanted to get a little bit of more information there, a little bit deeper there, which you can always do well. So I appreciate it. GDC also traded, I think, 4 times the float this week. The swings got me. He won on how many times the float his stock got traded. But we see it happen all the time. It's crazy to watch it. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, it's important that everyone pays attention. You can see all this stuff and how crazy it is. And it shouldn't happen, but it is happening. We can't stop it. We try every day. And, you know, we're banging our heads against here. We're going every door we can to run in and out of it. And you can see it. Like, how can a company trade so many shares? Yeah. Every investor in the company sold the stock 10 times over. Yeah, right. The whole thing is crazy. And if you don't fix it, if we don't get clarity on this stuff, you have to be insane to invest in the U.S. equity markets. And stop looking at the stocks that go up $10 a day like Tesla and NVIDIA and say, oh, the American dream, because you can't afford to buy those stocks. So get over it already.
Yep.
All right? Those are deadly stocks. You know, the day you step in and think you're going to conquer them, they're going to rip your eyes out.
Yep.
All right? Because they go up and down so fast, you can't handle it.
Yeah.
All right? That's professional hedge funds play those stocks. All right? It's very dangerous. So unless the market gets cleaned up, we're just going to the death. So again, I think we're in the right stocks. People are fighting, and I think that if we focus on a few, the SEC can't stop us. We're bringing law enforcement in, and I think we can turn the tide. I can't save every company that's out here. I just can't do it. Yeah. But we can save a few, and that's what we're going to do, and then we go one by one. And that's the game plan. And that's it. If the SEC is listening, fuck you. That's what we're doing.
Let's go to Swing, and then we'll go to Dr. Demo and Wish Gear, and then I'll go back to Ace. Go ahead, Swing.
I got a question for the panel here. So, Hotel Sierra Papa October, HSPO. This is like the 5th or 6th stock this week I've seen where there's like a $7 move on one share. You guys care to like enlighten me on how that happens?
A $7 move on one share?
One share. Swear to God. I've seen it literally like a dozen times this week. One share. $6, $7 move.
I'll explain to you what, as far as naked short selling. If the naked short selling stops selling, we can mark up finger motion. If there's no sellers, we can mark it up $10 on 100 shares, right? If that happens, they get the margin call, the short gets killed. That's why they fight so hard to hold it down, because if it does pop, like you just said, they get called in. I don't know how that happened in the stock you're following, because either the short stopped or he quit. And if it's marked up like that, there should be some buying coming in afterwards, because then the short is dead. All right? Because they were working so hard to hold it down, to have it trade. If it trades up $7 on one share, they get a margin call on that one, on the price. It's the price of the stock. And if you watch finger motion, every time we get to a price where it's really breaking the balls of the short, they attack it, put out fake stories, anything to knock it down lower. And I always tell you, if they thought they can win, they let the stock go higher. The attacks show you that they're in big trouble with margin, and that's why they attack and knock it down. That tells the whole story. There's nothing else to say. That's the whole story. It's the same pattern as Richard Not Legal Advice says every day.
Yeah, see, the crazy part about it is there was literally only 428 shares traded today. It's got 129% cost to borrow. The FTDs are through the roof. The short interest is insane. But one share, literally at the bell. And I'm not kidding. There's been a dozen of them this week.
That sound positive. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Start from the beginning. I have what you say.
I said whoever's trapped in that stock has got a serious problem.
Hey, Swing, send that stock to me. I'm gonna send it to him so he can review it. All right, let's go to Dr. Demo or Big J.
I want to know how many screens that Swing has to watch all those stocks, man.
He has a perfect setup in his man cave. Go ahead, Dr. Demo.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. I know we've talked about this stuff with the upstream and what has and hasn't happened with them, but I've been thinking about it and forgot about it, and it just happened to come up in conversation. What about T0? I know they're a little bit costlier, but
yeah, they're too expensive. Listen, the SEC is blocking all these exchanges. The only way to do it is to get away from them. You know, every angle you get, U.S. investors can't buy it. They're blocking everything. Everything Upstream is trying to do is being blocked by the GTI. Tried to do the crypto coin as a dividend, blocked by the DTC. They tried to do the Picasso dividend, blocked by the SEC. They know we know what's going on. We all know that if Elon Musk were to come out and give out a share of SpaceX, he would destroy the system, because they can't possibly deliver those shares to individuals because it's a private company. SpaceX, Twitter, I don't know why he doesn't do it, but again, he would destroy the whole financial system if he did that. So again, the SEC is blocking everybody. Every move that a company makes, it's like they have checkmate. They change the rules just as you go to do it. And I keep telling you, the tail doesn't wag the dog. It's the dog that wags the tail. So every time a public company tries to do a trick, the SEC, the DTC come out and they block it, because they know we got them. They all know we got them.
All right, let's go to Whisker.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm really enjoying
I'm
your
good,
space.
Busy. Keep it
and
going.
thanks,
I got
Busy,
time.
for having me up. Listen, we cannot underscore the importance of what was given to us today in that 1 hour podcast with Wes Christian and Eric Sprott, or Terry Lynch, Eric Sprott, and the Save Canadian Mining Space, right? And what they told us was the broker-dealers are leasing out their broker-dealer numbers to non-broker-dealers to give them unlimited liquidity. Absolutely, Ham. It's unreal, and we know it.
Don't look at Webbush, okay? Webbush has been fined because they're leasing out, giving clients direct access, foreign clients direct access to our markets, and they're supposed to monitor what they're doing, and Webbush looks the other way, and for that, they get fined a couple of $1 million. Meanwhile, all those clients just looted the U.S. equity markets, and they pay them commissions, probably at $10 million. They pay out $3 million in fines, and it's back to business as usual. That's it. Everyone is working to steal your money. That's it. And that's what the fight has been about.
How is this even possible in our capital markets, all right?
Oh, welcome.
That our broker dealers are leasing out their numbers, okay, to people who are not broker dealers to provide unlimited liquidity in the markets. That is criminal.
They get the criminals. That's what they're doing. That's what we've been saying.
I have no idea, Fix It Man. This is the first time I've heard of it.
Well, there was a call.
If I hear about it, I'll
going down
post a
the
link.
rabbit hole. It's getting deeper and deeper for you. And I feel awful that people investing in the equity markets have to learn this stuff. But if you don't step up and figure it out and understand it, they're just going to rob you, your family, your kids, your grandkids. I've been doing it 24 years.
Ham, you know what? There was more today, all right? There was more today. There are laws that are supposed to prohibit our broker-dealers from loaning out shares that are in our registered accounts, in our cash accounts. The margin accounts are different, but we all have pension funds are doing it. Everything is being loaned out of our accounts, and we're left with placeholders. And you know, I'm thinking about it. They know what our ages are because you have to give all your information and your SIN number and everything when you sign up, right? And they figure you're putting it in a registered account to retire, and you're not going to want to pull that for another 10, 15 years, whatever your age is, right? So we'll leave it there as a placeholder, and we'll loan it out without your knowledge. And so there was a call to action today about DRSing the shares, right? And locking them up. Whatever shares you have in whatever companies, lock them up. And the other call to action was hold your CEOs accountable, right? If they have any inkling that there is any misdoing in the shares of that company, then they have a fiduciary duty to us as shareholders to get to the bottom of that and expose it.
Well, listen, I agree with that. CEOs should be fighting back. I told everyone that. We asked the CEO of AMC point blank. I put a picture up of a friend of ours with him.
You can ignore my hand.
What he was going to do, and he had no interest in helping out. And I told everyone at that point, this guy's not helping, get away from it. If you don't step up and fight, you're dead. That's just the way it goes. But that's the equity market. Why does everyone have to fight for something? The system is broken. Think about what you're saying. You're giving up your good time listening to these stupid calls. Don't get me wrong, I'm calling them stupid.
There's a link, Fix a Man. It's in the
so
chat.
that you can educate yourself so you don't get robbed. Think about how crazy this is. And the regulators that make millions of dollars, have $1 billion budget, do nothing.
Ham, we are
for everything.
Taught from the age of 18, right? Put away 10-20% of your wages into a retirement account, right? And invest in the equities in your retirement account. So we're offered all these IRAs, Roths. In Canada, it's an RSP or TFSA. Put away 10 to 20% of your income, and that'll pay for you later. Now, all of us know that the Social Security, right, is pretty much bankrupt for all these countries, so it's not available. I've been planning on this since I was 18, and I'm well over 18 now. And to find out now that I've been putting away money my entire life to invest in my future so I can at least pay my bills when I'm retired, and find out that I have placeholders sitting in all my accounts is absolutely infuriating, and it's going to have to stop.
I'm with you. You got the wrong guy. I agree with you.
I love you, Ham. No, I got the right guy.
I've lost everything I own and been fighting back for 24 years. I told you before, friends of mine have killed themselves, heart attacks, divorces. It's a complete shit show what the SEC allows here. And for these guys like Sabby, that fat fuck, who steals money, buys a condo for $10 million, it shows you, it's on a smaller scale than Ken Griffin, but this fat bastard he's a piece of shit. Okay, he's the lowest level, and this guy's buying condos for $10 million. $10 million.
Hey, Ham.
What?
You know that Hal Mintz's kid interned for Apollo and BlackRock?
Yeah. That's what they all do.
So, Whiskey, I thought that was great, your questions in your presentation, but I think the system isn't broken. It's set up for the criminals. Yeah. And I think our banking system is part of it.
Exactly.
We're the suckers at the table.
I agree, William. I agree. And having been indoctrinated at the age of 18 to do that for the well-being of my future is driving me right up the wall right now. Mm-hmm. And it should drive all of us up the wall.
That's what I tell everybody every day. You got to stand up. When we fight together, we will win. You know the information now that is driving you crazy. Yep. You know how they're robbing you. Everybody knows. I mean, I don't understand how they continue to. It can't continue. It just can't.
Well, Whiskey, just to follow your thoughts through in an abstract way on Social Security, the federal debt, whatever. Next time one of these banks go down, who's going to trust the federal government to bail the system out? My point is that it's not just going to take down one or two banks. It could take down our entire financial markets once people realize, oh my God, there's nothing, it's, the emperor's clothes. I personally think they've turned the stock market, these bankers, these overpaid wankers, are trying to turn the stock market into a fraction. Our banking system is fractional reserve banking. I think they're just using the same concept to turn it into some sort of fractional reserve a security system where, like you started to say, you're not going to ask for your stock for 10 years. So why not just stuff everybody's account, multiply it out, stuff everybody's account, increase assets under management, increase trading fees? I mean, it's so big now. People, maybe someone's scared to attack
James, they didn't
it.
DRS all its shares. If they
the
did, they
adult?
wouldn't be trading.
Who's the Elliott Ness? Ham's been looking for somebody forever. There isn't anybody. It's really depressing. But anyway, I don't think the system can survive it very much longer. So.
Let's go with Ace. Ace, let's go back to you. I know that you had your hand up. I didn't see it. Sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good, Busy. I was going to ask you for that link that you posted in my in my feed that you already did, so I took it down. But I'm trying to think if I got any good questions for you guys before we finish up here.
I have a question for Pedro or for Ham. I like Senator John Kennedy, but he wrote an opinion letter that the SEC's consolidated audit trail is a disaster waiting to happen. But the SEC is forcing brokers basically to give the name of their clients and their trades. And according to the SEC, quote, the SEC wants to efficiently and accurately track all activity throughout the U.S. markets, unquote. Is this just a chimera, or is this really a new way of enforcing settlement? That's my question. Or is it just a distraction?
I think it's more a way of just trying to track everybody's actions, in not a great way. I don't think that they want a forced settlement. I mean, there's just too much anecdotal evidence over the years that if the regulators wanted to clean this up, I say all the time, I could clean a lot of this crap up in a week.
Yeah.
Some of the solutions are so simple.
Yep.
Right? And I always rant about just force shorts to file.
Yep.
If you buy 5% of a company, you have to file. If you short more than 5% of a company, you got to file. And that's whatever they won't even do that. So they don't want settlement. Your point about the fractional system is dead on. That's exactly what's going on. And GameStop, what happened there, pushed all the toothpaste out of the tube, and now all these online brokers and broker dealers are all shitting their pants because they've been selling IOUs for all this time. And that's the real issue here. And the greatest threat to this movement or something is that it is so big and so existential to the entire system that they just, I don't know what they do. But we saw what they did in January 2021.
Yep.
The SEC knew what was going on then.
Oh, yeah.
They just had a choice. Either the whole system was about to, we were days from complete and utter chaos in thousands of stocks. We were days away from it. They looked the other way while shareholders' rights were abrogated. The biggest risk here is that it is so big that they have no choice but to abrogate shareholders' rights again. I don't want to be a downer, but that is the big risk. And Ham makes such a good point all the time about you actually want it to go one stock at a time.
Yep.
That's what we really want. We want it to roll and be on these waves, and you get one, and then you take your dough, and you come to the next one, and you take your dough, and before it all implodes. You don't want chaos in 4 days. That won't be the most beneficial thing for us. We want to win in finger.
You also don't want whiskey multiplied by 1 million or 20 million retirees that just say we want to take our money out of the market, our stocks out of the market.
You want to create a run on the bank. That's what a short squeeze is. We're going to create a run on the bank, force the shorts to cover. That's the game plan.
Yep.
So whatever it takes to get that to happen, we're trying every trick in the book to make it happen.
Yep.
And eventually, listen, time is a killer of all deals.
Yep.
That's the Wall Street saying. It always works like that.
Yep.
Time is a killer. So as time goes on, people pass away, someone needs to go to school, people sell their stocks, and that's what the SEC always uses everything will work out at the end. I can go back and find that quote somewhere. I forget, I was at a conference once when they said that. We all tried to attack them on that. But that's what they think. They think that this will all work out over time. But the cat's out of the bag now. So again, that's why you see like Pedro said, the attacks are so blatant, obvious now. Everything that they're doing, they're in such trouble. They're trying to do everything at 200 miles an hour, opening up a fake website to put out fake stories and attack companies this fast as to steal whatever they can. It's like a land grab. Steal whatever you can. That's what they're trying to do. And get away, because the end is coming. They know it's coming.
Good night, Heidi. I think they're about to finish up if you guys want to hold on.
I was just going to quickly say
soon.
my Italian grandmother used to tell me,
I think he's going to right at 10.
wounds all heals. Just for levity.
All right, Pedro.
I was just going to say that a couple of days ago, I don't know how Martin Shkreli came up, but I posted an article about, people don't really know the history of Martin Shkreli. He was a hedge fund manager who was part of the naked short cabal, the counterfeiting cabal, particularly in biotechs. He then went and bought a legacy drug and jammed the price of it thousands of % to make money. But then his fund got in trouble because he put too much into the company or whatever it may be, and he had to get money fast. So you know what he did? He went and squeezed KBIO because he knew that the entire counterfeiting cabal of biotechs was all packed into KBIO. It went up 10,000%. I'll give you an idea. If we have thousands of stocks that go up 10,000% in a 3-4 day period, the system's going to melt.
Yep.
So that was 2015, folks, right? So that's the kind of stuff that can happen here, and it can happen really quick. But and you're talking hundreds of names, if not thousands of names.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ham.
No, listen, KBIO and Martin Shkreli, I put the story up 1,000 times. He got caught naked shorting. I forgot the name of the company. I'll put the story up again. And Merrill Lynch was absolutely his partner in the crime. Today he shorted, I think, 35 million shares of a stock. And Merrill Lynch, when they went to court, he said to them, I borrowed it. And they said, they checked him and they said, did you borrow the shares? He goes, yes. That was it. That was their check. The guy sold 35 million shares of a company, and that was it. No one ever checked to see if he borrowed it. Obviously, they were partners until the shit hit the fan, and then they pissed on him and they separated themselves.
Crazy.
Yeah, then they put him in. Then they threw him in jail.
Yeah, they threw him in jail. When I went to every reporter that wrote about him, and there was an article in Fortune describing what I just said. Not one reporter went to him and said, "Hey, tell us who taught you how to naked short, and give up everybody and give this guy a break in jail." That's all they had to do. Not one person ever asked the guy a question.
Wow.
Well, that's because Martin knew well enough not to tell anybody because he'd be dead.
Right. So there you go. That's the answer.
Crazy.
Let's go another hat. Let's go to John. Go ahead, John.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, you guys have been answering a lot of the stuff I've been thinking of. As some of you know, I've been tied up in the hospital for a week and a half now, and I'm trying to catch up on everything I can catch up on. But so far, I think I'm there, and I'm just here supportively. And if I hear something I want to speak, I'll raise my hand and let you guys know.
All right, thank you,
You guys
buddy.
doing a great job. All right.
Good job. Go ahead, just swing.
I hope you're feeling better, John.
Where's Charlie?
Are you on the mend?
Thank you.
Hey, just to point out the fact, that ticker I just called out a little while a minute ago, HSPO, it had 100% short interest today.
For sharing, man.
Not a lot of stock traded.
Go back and listen.
But that would make sense why
That's
that
a good one.
gigantic swing of $7 for one share. And there's been literally a dozen of these this week. Low floater, 8.65 million. Literally only 428 shares traded. I think this is a SPAC.
You gotta be careful with the SPACs.
Yeah.
But they do it SPAC so that you understand the SPACs. Everybody puts money up into the SPAC. All right? And big players can withdraw their money out when they want. If the company doesn't find a suitable company to invest in,
Right.
to withdraw their funds. So these guys put up big money. These things open up and they're all trading at $10 because they have the money to match. It matches it trades at cash value. And what they do is they all short the SPAC, and then they call up and say we want our money back. It's a complete fraud, the whole thing. So they open them up at 10. You're the big fund. You put up, let's say the company's got $100 million in the SPAC has $100 million in it. Everyone demands their money back. Of course, the stock can't maintain the $10 value, and the stocks collapse. That's what happens with the SPACs. And when they try to buy a business, the investors that put up all the money have say in it what they acquire, and they always say no because they're shorting the stock at 10. And, every once in a while, a rumor coming out, they're going to get this company in here. Everyone goes and buys it. And they shorted it at $12, $13. And in 2 months' time, they all withdraw their money and the stocks collapse. That's what they do with the SPAC, so be careful.
Yeah, that happened with me on CCIV with Churchill Capital and Lucid. It was like, I was like astonished. The stock went from NAV at 10, ran all the way up to like 65 or something like that. And I was like, damn. And then they announced the merger and with Lucid, and the stock literally cratered like $25 in a day. Buy the rumor, sell the news, or they were just shorting it. I have no idea. Either way, it was crazy.
Listen, sell the news is a term brought up by the short sellers. So don't believe that bullshit. That's the short sellers knocking it down, and the stories come out, everybody just was taking profit. It's all bullshit.
Go ahead, William.
So, Ham, in the SPAC, do the criminals fund the SPAC, and then they start?
Yes.
Yeah. So what a cycle! They just plan a year ahead. Then they ask for the money.
They're putting up all kinds of money. It's great. We're invested, but they have the out to take their money back.
Right.
And they'll find a suitable investment. They never find an investment. They all take their money out, and the stocks collapse. There you go.
All right, so let's go to Arca. I see that you're on here. Did you have anything for us? I know that you have family home, and we're just showing support, or you have a question?
What is up, my dude? Thanks. Thank you so much for having me, man. No, I'm actually just listening, dude. So I want to be available as much as I can be, right? I'm just driving here, and I got my charts up, so I have the hotspot connected with my big screen.
Ham said keep your eye on the road. No, we're actually going to shut it down right now. Good. We've been running for 2 hours already. Ham has to go. Ace is getting tired.
I'm going to watch the football game.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen, everyone, have a great night. Be safe driving. And listen, I keep trying to tell people, everyone's coming into these calls, which are great. And I forgot the woman's name, but she's been putting money into her pension money, and she feels like she's being robbed. That's exactly what they're doing.
Whiskey.
They contact money to put your money in, and they just steal it. That's what they do. Anyway, listen, everyone, have a great holiday weekend, and we're around if you need us, all right? Have a great time. Thank you.
Have a good night, Ham.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to conclude the space call for 2 hours. Really informative. Thank you, everybody that contributed. Thank you, Pedro, Frank Benedetto, Big JR, Swing, William. Nice to see you. Ace, thank you for being such a great co-host. I know that you guys were live. So
yep.
Put it down. Arca, sorry, man, not today, not the charts today. You got to keep your eyes on the road.
Yeah.
Be
Dude,
safe,
yeah, man,
Arca.
I just loaded up the screens. Yeah. Oh, man, trust me when I say all I got to do is glimpse for you guys, man. But I just want to be available for everyone, dude. So, But yeah, thank you, Busy. Love you, buddy.
Hey, no
Ace, William, catch you guys later. Big JR, love you guys so much. Swing.
Enjoy your night with your family, brother. All right, thank you, William.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Later,
guys.
guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Peace.
All right. All right, guys. That was awesome. I want to give a big shout out to Pedro for the, the extra comedy as we were as we were listening to everything. It was awesome. What a chat. I hope you guys got to listen. I hope you guys learned. Just amazing guys. I mean, I was happy to be mostly a listener on that one. It was fantastic. If you missed it, you're gonna want to go back and listen to the whole thing. I mean, Ham, Busy, Pedro, just so much good stuff. William, it was amazing. Big JR, even Richard at the beginning with the new Alpine updates, just fantastic stuff. So Busy, Pedro kept sending me stuff the whole time on the Gasparino. It was so funny. Yeah, I was glad I had my mute on so I could laugh because it was just hilarious. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna take off. But you guys have an awesome weekend. Members, hey, I'm gonna be breaking down tomorrow, members live only, breaking down Dune, the movie. So if you guys haven't seen it or it's been a while, you might want to rewatch it. And we're going to go deep dive on that, about how it relates to what's going on in our modern life, getting ready before the sequel comes out. Just really fun stuff. You guys who are members like that stuff, and so it'll be fun. And for everybody else, I might be back Sunday. If not, I'll definitely be on Monday. But lots of crazy stuff going on in the markets. And but for the meantime, just get rest. No, we're winning. We got amazing people on our side, as you guys just heard. Brilliant people on our side. Everybody's fighting. We're doing everything we can to break the shorts, and I definitely believe we are not far away from winning, because it's just so much is happening and so many good things are coming together. So many amazing people fighting. So thank you, Busy, for hosting. Thanks, Pedro, for the comedic relief. And you guys, the rest of you, have a great night. God bless y'all.